Spokane. When we come back, we're going to have a chance to push Dick's button. Stick around. There he is. Two-time Olympic gold medalist joins us next.
Yeah, why didn't I wear a bow tie?
Yeah, you should have worn a bow tie. Why'd you wear that? You can't tie it now. All right, let's go. We're live here in Spokane. All right, you ready?
Sorry. Thank you very much.
Time now for Push Dick's Button, and I believe you are ready. I have the first card. Are you ready?
I am ready, sir.
Okay, here we go. Rhea wrote in to eskate@espn.com and asked, "Dear Mr. Button," she called you Mr. Button.
Well, and rightfully so.
"I've noticed a negative undertone this season when Johnny Weir is discussed. Is this due to his performance at the last Olympics?"
Well, in the first place, I'd like to know what the negative aspect of that response is. And my answer to it is anyone can have a bad day at any time at an Olympic performance or a world championship or a bad week. I mean, we've seen what's happened to golfers, etc. So skaters suffer the same thing. That's no problem to have a bad thing. I think that doesn't work. If it's a negative thing because they don't like the fact that he's a wild personality, an original, different, unusual, creative, funny, then that's too bad. I guess I do what my mother always said when somebody spoke badly: take it from whence it cometh and chalk it up to ignorance.
Words to live by. Okay, here you go. The second one. Sandra from Port Townsend, Washington asked, with skaters such as Michelle Kwan and Sasha Cohen taking off large blocks of time while keeping their options to compete open, what does it really mean to be an amateur versus professional in the world of figure skating?
Well, in the first place, the fact that they take off a long period of time and may or may not come back has nothing to do with anything. Amateur and professional, words that used to mean you either make money or you can't make money and still compete, are no longer in existence. There is no such thing as an amateur anymore unless it's a child who's skating somewhere. The whole point is today that these darling young girls who can spin like phenomenal tops in the air and have hips that are this wide can, if they do well at the national championships and make the team and compete in the Worlds and compete in the Olympics, earn six figures, way into six figures. And that's more than a lot of guys make in a whole year. So there's nothing amateur or professional about it. Forget those words. They don't exist.
Not nearly as much as you make every year, Mr. Button. Now, we move on. Richard wrote into eskate@espn.com and asked, when commentators, might be talking about you, say that skaters are tired after a 4-minute program, I'm wondering why. They practice hours a day, don't they? Why would 4 minutes do anything to them?
Well, all I can say is those people who say that, have they ever run a 4-minute mile? Well, try running a 4-minute mile, and I don't care how much you practice, it takes a lot out of you. And in addition, during that 4 minutes, you're also throwing in triple jumps that go probably 18, 20 feet, and you have to land on a little inch-wide blade, and then you do spins that would knock the average guy who even had one glass of wine right off the stool. I mean, come on, it's a wild situation. It's a very, very tough scene, and I will admit that there are some skaters who don't practice their whole program in a run-through, and that's a very negative thing. But for most skaters, they work very hard and they can still get exhausted. Remember, the pressure of the competition and being out there in front of everybody is exhausting. So don't denigrate it.
There was a time when men went 5 minutes, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, absolutely. 4.5 today for the men.
All right, here you go. Question number 4. Pat from Rochester, Minnesota wonders why the sport continues to call the area where the skaters wait for their scores kiss and cry. Doesn't this diminish the effort and athleticism of the sport? After all, they don't call hockey's penalty box the boo-hoo area. Maybe they should. What the heck?
Well, I don't know what I'm going to say to that one. All I'll tell you is that I think the name Kiss and Cry came from the media in one form or another, because everybody always kisses somebody when they do well. I kissed my father for years after I did well, and he kissed me, and my mother kissed me, and it was a great fun. So I think it went over into the parental relationship with coaches and teachers that you have, and I think that's nice. And as far as maybe hockey ought to name it the boo-hoo area, and then some of the penalty box, and maybe then some of these guys would not force others into that position of being between a rock and a hard place. So get on with it, guys. It's not hurting anybody.
So you've kissed in there. Have you ever cried in there, though?
Well, they didn't have a kiss and cry. Remember, I come from the dark ages. We didn't have a kiss and cry area because there was no television.
It was outside as well. We talked about that. Hey,
cold.
we've got more Push Dick's Button tomorrow on our coverage here in Spokane. I know you can't wait for that. But tonight, preview of the ladies and the men, and also live coverage of the dance championship on the line.